people are one of two things or both, right? They're either very good at their job,
right,
but not good at telling the story, or some people are very good storytellers, but actually aren't that great at their job.
Okay.
So I was finding so many people that
I would fall into that camp.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the People First podcast, the Young Careers podcast. I'm your host Jordan, and today I'm joined by entrepreneur Shay Loko, founder of JobsWithShay, and my best friend Ruby Elvin, Recruitment Marketing Manager at ManpowerGroup Talent Solutions. Today we're unpacking what it means to make a great job search in 2026, how you can do it effectively, steps that you can take to get ahead, and how to market yourself in a changing world of work. First thing that we always ask all of our guests is, what was your very, very, very first job? I'm going to come to you first, Shay, if that's okay. So think like pre-national insurance number,
Right.
like what you were doing first.
Do you know, I just remembered. So my parents owned a restaurant.
Nice.
So I think I was like 13, and it was actually on Farringdon Road.
Nice.
Which weirdly, that is like my two companies when I've worked in London, that is also where the offices have been.
Is that some sort of like
It's so weird. When I realised that, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so that was my first ever job. I think I was probably like 13, maybe younger, but restaurant, like cafe sort of thing, making coffees.
Fun.
Yeah.
Original Napo baby.
Exactly, yeah.
And what about you, Ruby?
So mine was completely different to what I'm doing now. So mine was a 2 weeks Christmas temp job in the post office, and
Exciting.
I absolutely loved it. It was this massive warehouse filled with letters and parcels, and we would go into these little kind of huddles with all these carts around you, and you'd throw parcels around, and there was just such a buzz in there. But yeah, I still to this day think it's the best job I've ever had.
And from that, tell the listeners what your career has looked like to get to here around this table.
So, well, from there, where I kind of started my career was in Westminster City Council. I initially thought numbers was where my career was going to go. My brain understands numbers way more than it understands words.
Ruby, she goes wild on a spreadsheet. Like, you want to see her pivot tables. They're absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, so absolutely love numbers. So I got a job in pensions.
Yeah.
And then was like, this is boring. Spreadsheets, it's two numbers. I want to work with people, I want to do something a bit more interactive. So kind of reached out in kind of more opportunities across the wider HR team. An opportunity came up within recruitment, and I absolutely loved it. Working it from an in-house perspective was really interesting. Working with hiring managers, not so much having that candidate focus, but it's very much best practice. How can we bring talent into the organisation? If you think about Westminster City Council, you think about old dinosaurs that don't really stay in the job for 20 years. It was about kind of how we engage with that new fresh audience and bring young people back into Westminster, and that's where I had my first experience with employer brand and recruitment marketing. Did my first employer brand project there, which absolutely loved, and then that was it. That was it for me.
Tell the listeners your definition of employer branding?
For me, I think employer branding is the promise that organisations give you in exchange for their talent.
Okay, good. I'm going to park that there for a second. Can I come to you, Shay?
That, yes.
So tell me come from your mum and dad's restaurant.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit about your career, but let's spell it out for the listeners.
Yes. So I went into a grad role.
Yeah.
I did a law degree, but I realised we're all yappers, I think, around this table. So I just like talking way too much.
That is a very fair assessment.
Yeah.
Okay? Very fair assessment.
So I was like, I remember I did work experience, and the lady said to me, I've just spent the last 3 days not speaking with anyone. And I was like, that's where this ends for me. I'm not doing this. So from there, I just formed my way into a sales career, basically. So at first I worked in the finance side of things, moved from financial consulting, and just really I suppose maybe where our conversation is going to go today, networked my way into how can I find myself in sales, because I like solving complex issues. I like speaking with people, forming relationships, and that's what I came up with as a career, and making money. Actually, I should probably add that.
Yeah.
So that's when I moved from that grad role. That ended me actually up working in Dublin, in Luxembourg, in New York. But then from there, I managed to move across to Indeed. So that's kind of where my crossover with sales and recruitment came in. So I was at Indeed, essentially working with customers across various industries to employ people using Indeed. So I did that role at Indeed. grew there and then moved to LinkedIn, essentially the same role in commercial sales. As I was going through my career, just working with bigger budgets, bigger companies, and yeah, that's my background.
Thank you both. So I think to like bring everything around, we have grown up working, I'm guessing, in a similar talent attraction space. And I'm glad that we're here to talk about this episode, because not only are the three of us around this table young people who have had a career through their 20s, which is ideally who we're talking to here, but we've been on the other sides. We've seen what employers are looking for and what people are willing to do to attract talent. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, and they go out of their way massively.
So what would you say right now in 2026 is the best way to start a proactive job search? I'm going to come to you first.
So I think for me, it's about being able to be unique in terms of how you're applying for jobs. We hear a lot of recruiters talk about how, they're getting hundreds of applications now in because of AI, and, it's about how you make yourself stand out, because I've heard recruiters say, I've just seen the same 3 CVs come through back to back. So it's like there's nothing wrong in using AI in a job search, right? But it's how you make you stand out and how you make it unique.
Yeah. And could you explain it like we are sitting in the pub right now talking to our friends? Why would a company employ a recruitment marketing manager? So I would love you to just simplify what your job role now actually is in an organisation.
So my job is technically to market careers.
Yeah.
That's it in its most simplistic term. It's about educating people about employers, about their benefits, about their offering, about the culture, showcasing employee testimonials. It's really just to get under the skin of an organisation. Yeah.
And do you think that a lot of organisations have someone like that that's like fully embedded to focus on bringing people in? That maybe sits aside from the typical like HR, talent, people sort of team?
Yeah, not all organisations, and I think recruitment marketing and employer brand is starting to get a space in the room in terms of the conversation. I don't know if you would agree. Yeah. I think people are investing a lot of money in terms of getting in front of the right talent, but budgets can be an issue in terms of how people prioritise that. But I do think it's growing. I do think it's got attention.
Shay, from working in the media landscape, because we've said you were on the other side to us, right?
You guys would be my clients.
Yeah, well, essentially, really, So we were purchasing from you, essentially, for our clients. So do you think that a job seeker, the standard, a person who is on the street looking for a job, do you think they know that?
Do I think that they know
that how much money employers are spending, how much effort they're putting in to actually engage with these job seekers?
Great question. No, I don't think they have a clue. Okay. I don't think, and I think that's probably the biggest issue that I see with candidates is it's maybe a struggle to like think about what the company is doing and like think about the other side of the coin. But to your point, like how much they invest in like a recruitment team, recruitment marketing, like basically your role is like, okay, how can I convince this candidate that this is the place that they should come and work? And like, they're probably not thinking about that. Because ultimately companies don't function without good people working there. So like recruitment marketing and having the best recruiters is about, okay, how can I tell the best story to make sure the best people want to come and work with me? So, but I don't think they consider that.
Exactly. And I think it's cutting through that noise, right? Because if you think about it, I heard some crazy stat. You see like 10,000 advertisements or something like that. So it's like, I think recruitment marketing is cutting through that noise and making employers stand out to candidates. So when we work with one of my main clients, they're a big automotive organisation, but they also have, a big creative department, and it's like how we make people in that creative space consider them as an employer of choice, right? Instead of just going kind of or leaning towards the kind of normal creative career path, if you will. It's like actually thinking outside the box and putting yourself in front of different types of candidates. Yeah.
Can I ask, and I haven't asked a single question in the script, out of nosiness, what was the main reason that you started Jobs by Shay? Was there a problem that you really wanted to solve? Was there something that you really felt like, I've got a space to really like help someone here?
Yes. So I think that people are one of two things or both, right? They're either very good at their job, right, but not good at telling the story. or some people are very good storytellers but actually aren't that great at their job.
Okay.
So I was finding so many people that
I would fall into that camp.
I'm like,
So I would.
So many people that really struggle. So there are some people that are both, right? Which is where you want to be. But lots of people, I'm like, the reason why, like, you're either being underpaid or not in the right job, it shouldn't be just for the fact that you can't tell your story really well. So like my thing is like, if I see someone that's like capable, because I understand both like naturally, like I'm quite good at helping people like tell stories, but then also now because of like Indeed and LinkedIn, I can really like see the back end. So then I'm able to help people transform like what they're actually good at into like how to tell it to employers.
I think you fall into that camp sometimes.
I was just about to say that.
So,
it's like you read my mind.
For context for the listeners, I have done this podcast for 3 seasons, and I, knowing Ruby, have really wanted her to come on because I think you've got a really, really interesting story. We've worked together for 3.5 years. We have been in like the middle of Essex filming lorry drivers talking about careers in driving. We have been up to all ends of the country, literally like trying to help businesses get talent. And I consider you to be, the way you work is absolutely magic. And I think the like absolute like dedication that you have to the craft is insane. However, you are not very good at talking about yourself,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And I said before the cameras were rolling, I said to Shay, I was like, Ruby's not very good at saying, I do this, my client, my expertise, so we're trying to encourage it.
Yeah.
So if you were speaking to someone like Ruby now, and Ruby's not moving jobs for anyone in ITA, right? But if Ruby was going to start working on that, because I don't think it's a confidence piece with you whatsoever, because the way you work and you always keep your clients and your stakeholders very, very in the know about the work that you're doing. But I just don't always think that you would talk about it to people away from the desk. So here's a real world example.
Right,
come on, give it to me. Give it to me.
Also, I love that you've just done that, because like people that aren't good at like saying their story, they need a you in their back pocket.
Jordan is my hype man.
Yeah,
100%.
But Ruby has done so much for me and taught me so much, and I'm better at talking about myself, so I have sometimes had more of a seat at the table, whereas I always try and mention Ruby's name in rooms that she's not in, because she's good cop. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's the one that's good at her job. So anyway, I digress.
Don't be silly, Jordan. You're also brilliant.
Thank you. But let's go back. So Ruby, she wants to change career, but she knows she's not always her own best hype woman. What do you think is like maybe 1, 2, or 3 tips that you would say to Ruby if she's starting that search tomorrow?
Okay, practical tips. I think about it as if you're describing Jordan to someone. Like, don't think about it, like think about it on behalf of somebody else. That's a good like if you remove yourself from the situation, like how would you just practically describe yourself? Because it might feel like arrogance to you, but when you're actually just being realistic about the value you deliver,
like, I love
just
that.
Just get to it. I would also
that's actually quite good, because I think that translates easy. If my friend's in a situation, I'll say, what would you tell me if it was me telling you this? So it's like, take yourself out of it and talk as if that's a third person. Is that essentially what you're...
Exactly.
We're so easy to be critical of ourselves as well, right? And not really calling out, okay, cool, I did this and this was good, you know? Like, I did a good job, or this was a good thing that I delivered. So, I think that's good advice,
I think other things, and this, it really depends if it's like I'm a bit embarrassed about saying it, or is it like nervousness. And you know this as well from being in recruitment, how like important and crucial it is to have good people in the business. So it's not the mindset should be, I'm not doing this person a favor. It's like, I'm actually looking back at my career and thinking, these are the problems that I solve, and someone is going to pay me more to solve their problems. Like, I'm not coming in and begging them for a new job. They actually need me to deliver. So if I'm being as accurate as I can, I'm actually doing them a favor. And I think the last thing I would say, maybe this doesn't apply to Ruby, but I was even speaking to Zaid outside as well about this. It's like, we're so focused on ourselves and like a lot of anxiety around like, oh, should I say this? Am I bugging people? You need to get over yourself. Like people are so focused on themselves. They think like, am I annoying this person? Should I reach out? But like, ultimately, no one knows about your skills unless you say it. Like, it's all in your mind, and you're like, oh, no one's getting back to me. But actually, have I reached out to that person, or have I been specific about what I want, or have I gone into detail about like my background? Those are the small things I'd say.
So it's like get out your own way, basically.
Get out of your own way. Yeah. Also, I think just made me think of something like ask for feedback. Like we've been in situations before where we've been going for internal moves, for example, and we'll pull up the job description, and like if it was you, I would say, right, well, you have done that. Like you have done that, and maybe like it takes someone else to like
recognize
like sit behind you almost and do that. So great
and
advice.
I think the feedback piece is really good. Like even in like it doesn't have to be like an interview. It could just be a project that you've worked on with someone, right? Just ask for that internal piece as well in terms of that feedback. I think that's really valuable.
A lot of the episode is like how to navigate a job search in 2026 with like the rise of AI and things like that. And I think what we've just talked about leads into a nice natural segue, because what would you say, both of you, if you think about your experience in dealing with employers? Like, what do they really want to see in a CV? Like in right now, is it that they want like stringent experience doing this and this, Russell Group uni, or we talk a lot in this podcast that it's sometimes it's more your personality or your soft skills. So to get ahead in this AI world, what sort of things are you wanting a job seeker, or do you think a job seeker should focus on at the application stage? So not just ahead of thinking about their new career or their new job, but when they're sitting down to do their CV and do the application, what would you say is your top tips? I'm going to come to you first, Shay.
Fine. I would say the single word that came to my mind is evidence.
Okay.
Because I think that strips through the noise a lot. Like it's not about the format. It's not about all of these different, any fluff. It's not about that. All employers are looking for is evidence that you can do the job that they're asking you to. And that applies whether it's like 300 people applying and really are using AI to like make their CV look better. But it applies through everything, right? And evidence simply means, have I illustrated that I've done like parts of this task before? Have I broken it down and said, okay, I work in a podcast studio and I have worked with 100 guests. So then if someone is employing someone that needs someone that's done that, they say, okay, this person has experience. They've shown me evidence that they can work with 100 guests. I'm going to employ them to do that for my next 200 guests. Like it's so that almost like cuts it back away from like the job title. It's like they might not even need to see the job title necessarily, but it's just like, can this person do the job I need them to do? Have you provided enough evidence?
Yeah. Quantify your experience. This is what we tell everyone all the time. So if you have grown an account by what percent, if you have contributed to turnover, if you have decreased cost, percentages, evidence, that's one thing we always tell people too. So I'm really, really glad that you said that for a start. I'm going to come to you for your opinion because I know there might be something different. So
no, I actually quite agree with what you said. The only thing I would add to that is being able to tell employees what you do quickly.
Okay, interesting.
So it's like having a CV and just cut to the chase. Like don't have all the fluff around it, bullet points. Like you say, quantify it. Just be clear and consistent. Like recruiters are looking at hundreds and hundreds of CVs. Make it easy for them. Like they want to make placements, right?
Yeah.
Make their job easy so they can put every single time they see your CV, they're going to put it in front of that hiring manager.
The need as well for a professional summary and cover letter to say that you are a dynamic and hardworking individual and all these like ChatGPT isms has moved past.
Yes.
Tell me if you want a headline of your career, what does that look like? That is, I mean, for me, 10 years in recruitment, specializing in X niche area. Like, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them again. I don't know one single employer, and you can tell me differently, that cares whether I go to the cinema with my dad at the weekend and listen
or
to
if you're
French films.
dynamic,
Right?
I once heard it was like, really work on what your like elevated pitch is. Like you should be able to tell someone what you do for your career if you walk into a lift with them and you've only got 6 floors. Like, do you know what I mean? You've got 10 seconds to capture people's attention and really showcase what you can do. And I think working on that elevated pitch is really powerful because that leads to conversations. You know, people are interested in what other people do all day, right? We spend so much time at work, and I think working on that elevated pitch can be really, really powerful. So you can walk into any room and someone can just quickly understand, you know, what you do.
Yeah. Without saying dynamic and hardworking and
exactly.
So we've talked about getting yourself ready to make that step, to look for something new. We've talked about the early sort of application process. So we've sent away our application, we're waiting for an interview. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What I would like to know from your experience of being behind the curtain at LinkedIn and Indeed, how can I be proactive in that next stage of the search, right? I want to go maybe network, or I want to make sure that a recruiter can see me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Okay, I am sending at least two messages minimum. So I'm actually reaching out now. What I would say with recruiters is that they are very busy. So for example, if a recruiter said, please apply directly or don't reach out, do not do it.
Yeah.
But I would, when I'm applying and it's this noisy and unemployment figures are up.
Over 1 million 18 to 24-year-olds outside of work at the moment, guys. Not employment, education or training. If you have forgotten, I'm screaming it on this podcast. So
I would absolutely be reaching out. If you are looking at a role and you everyone knows that feeling of like, I could do this job and I could do it very, very well. I wouldn't cross my fingers and wait and sit in a pile. I would be proactively reaching out to the recruiter because again, it's that understanding of I'm not doing them a favor. Like I'm not begging them. I'm actually helping them out. Like
exactly.
Sorry, they're not doing me a favor. I'm actually helping them out. So reaching out to a recruiter, reaching out to a hiring manager, reaching out to someone that can refer you to just get you to stand out.
100%.
Yes, referrals I think are just in the recruitment marketing space just so undervalued, right? They're so just looked over, right? It's like an internal communication piece, but I think
good people know good people.
Exactly.
Right?
They say that for a reason, and you're not going to refer someone who you don't think is good for the job. We tend to see we get a better quality in terms of that candidate when someone's referred. So do use your network. I do think it's really powerful.
And for those that think it's cringe to send a message to a hiring manager or recruiter, or whatever, it does not need to be War and Peace. It could literally be, I've just applied. This is my mobile number. Reach out to me at any time. I would love to chat. You know, it doesn't need to be like, oh, please let me come and work for you. Like Mrs. Hiring Manager, Mr. Hiring Manager. It can be just something different as like carrying on that conversation. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but do you feel like that is a simple way?
Yeah, I think like don't just go and ask for a job, right?
Yeah.
I think like have a conversation, you know, like don't just ask for something. You need to give something back as well, I would say.
Agreed.
I think recruiters are your biggest advocate, right? They've got good relationships with the hiring managers. You know, they're going to put you forward to roles. So like reach out and offer them
guys,
something.
Be nice to your recruiter,
Yes.
guys. Like,
Totally.
honestly, be nice to your recruiter. Like, you wouldn't learn to drive without a driving instructor, and a recruiter is obviously, I'm biased, but an amazing way to look for a job. Be nice to them because they'll remember the candidate that made them feel nice and that is easy to deal with and those sorts of things. But I want to go back to LinkedIn and back to Indeed.
Yeah.
Other ways someone can be proactive when they're passively looking or they're waiting for, you know, to hear back from somewhere or something like that.
Yes. Okay. From a proactivity perspective, if you're certain that you're going for a specific type of role, I would actually lean into marketing yourself.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is like, you're trying to sell yourself to a company, and if a company is like selling a product, they're going to market that product. And what I mean by candidate marketing is like, how do I make my voice so loud in the market that people actually come to me? In that context, on LinkedIn, it's creating content. And I don't want to say creating content because I feel like that almost like cringes people out, but I literally just mean
like
sharing your
opinion.
Sharing your opinion.
Right,
Literally,
yeah.
this is an update in my industry. This is what I think. This is some industry news. This is a success I had on my team. You just want to create enough visibility that actually if a recruiter looks you up or if anyone in your industry looks you up, they can actually see that you care about the work you're doing. And that's it. I
know. Yeah, that's I could not agree with you anymore. I mean, I love a bit of like, you know, love and praise whenever it comes to LinkedIn and stuff as well. But, you know, just a success. Like, I did this last month. Look at this piece of work that I did. Like, you know, I've worked on this with my colleague and those sorts of things. How long did it take you to agree to putting award-winning recruitment marketer in your LinkedIn bio? Tell me that. Tell the listeners
it's
that.
True. And my hype man convinced me to do it.
Thank you.
So, guys, just on the back of that question where we were talking like, you know, our LinkedIn's networking ourselves, have you got an example of where like proactive pitching yourself has worked really well, either of you?
Goodness, yeah. I mean, my whole career, I made a post on this maybe a few months ago now, actually, but like my whole career has just been pitching myself and asking, particularly when I was moving from like more of a finance consulting into sales. And my, you know, I only tell people to do things I'm comfortable doing myself. And because I'm from a sales background, you're used to reaching out to people anyway. So my whole ethos is use sales to get yourself your new job.
Yeah.
And as a part of that, for most roles I've had, all roles I've had, I've been referred, or I've known someone in the company, but not known personally. I've reached out to them.
Yeah.
And it's been an in-person thing. For LinkedIn, because that was my dream job and I had targeted that company, I probably spoke to about 4 people, and 3 of which I literally messaged on LinkedIn to say, like, can we have a conversation?
Yeah.
Because I've, landed an interview, or I'm looking to be referred, or anything like that, just to show you up front that I'm good at my job. Can you convince someone else that I'm good at my job, and like let me get some information about the interview process?
Yeah, I've done that before as well in my own personal experience. I went through a period about a year ago where I wasn't sure I was going to get a job that I was going for internally. So I did start to look externally, and the first thing I did before I even went on a job board was write out a list of people that essentially owed me favours from over the years. So like anyone that I had worked with in the recruitment space that I'd done really good work for, like anyone that I knew that worked in like a larger business or things like that. I think that's like a really, really good thing to do. So know your network deep and inside out before that would be my advice before you even sort of actively go on the job board. However, I want to move the conversation away to a different space, because we touched on it at the start of the episode, and I genuinely do not believe that the average job seeker knows how much a company is willing to do to attract them. So if I think about when we started working together 3.5 years ago, it was a candidates market.
Yeah.
What would a candidates market be described as for someone who has worked at LinkedIn or Indeed?
There are more jobs on the market than candidates available.
Exact. That was my take too, thank God. So, do you remember how much, like, would you ever see a budget for a client that you've worked on and thought, if like this is insane, like if only people knew what they were willing to do to get back? And I'm talking about back then, because the market has changed as we know at the moment, and it's very much an employers-led market. But do you remember back like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, on the back of the COVID boom, when everyone was hiring? Like what was that like, and what was some crazy, weird and wonderful things that you saw employers doing back then?
Yeah, look, millions are being spent, like millions of pounds are being spent every year, to get in front of candidates. And I think people don't realise how much it is. Like when you see big brands, you just think about the consumer side of the business. It's so easy to like lean on, to go to that side of the business. But it's like, actually, we're here to market careers, right? And so much effort is put into that. And I think, employers do all sorts of things to stand out in front of talent. But
give me a couple of examples.
Think about talent pools, it depends on how good the ATS is, but, get in those talent pools. They're sending out opportunities to that. That's another way
Ruby's
to
using jargon. That's what it means when you go on an employer's career site and you sign up with your CV. No ATS mention. You sign up with your CV and you basically enter yourself into like a pot.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And employers spend a lot of time in terms of building out communications to engage with you. Is there a company update? Are they recruiting? Is there part of the business that growing? That's another channel for employers to communicate with you. So do engage with them. Do sign up. Do get your CVs in those pots. Also, events, I think, is a good one to do. Go and meet people on the ground. As Shay said, like when it comes up, that an opportunity comes up, you can be like, right, I already know so and so in the business. I can reach out to them, have a conversation. Like people want to help people, right? So go out of your way, like build your network. It's you don't know when you need it, I think is what I would say.
How have you seen the market change in terms, and this is the question to both of you, how have you seen like employer behaviour change in terms of getting the candidate? I would say from my experience, there's a push more on that skilled and the specialist workers, and they're really looking for like quite sometimes like anomaly workers. For example, we've talked about it a little bit, people who have like a really good digital fluency, or people who are a specific kind of engineer. What sort of trends have you seen change?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think the transition from what Ruby was describing, the like employer-led market, to now, or other way around actually. I think
it was a candidate-led market, and now it's an employer-led market for sure.
So from the transition from the candidate-led market to now definitely employer-led market, I think you are spot on in that they are looking for niche skills. Like I think that we have seen a drop in vacancies, but the vacancies that are around, companies can be pickier. So what they're looking for, and this is annoying for candidates, but it's good for them to know, is like niche skills, specialist skill sets, have you got experience in this specific type of company? Like if it's a startup, I'm looking for someone with a startup background. If it's a FTSE 500, I'm looking for someone with that background. And it does make it very difficult to like switch careers as well, which is the thing. But to that point, just to flip it for advice and like what would I do in that scenario, I think now is when you're not just looking for this like perfect storyline of like, this has been my career. It's like, you need to get specific on your experience and not leave any gaps. So you need to be like, right, what all of the projects that I've done in my career, and just list them on Indeed, on Total Jobs, on LinkedIn, because you basically can't guess what niche skill sets are going to fit together in that puzzle that employee needs. So you basically need to be as detailed as possible on all of the sort of things that fit within. It's almost like it's like a, you know, like a jigsaw, and you're just trying to like help give them as much information as possible. Yeah.
And just to add to that, I think someone once told me, like, when you do a project at work, or whenever you do anything at work, write it down. Just write it down, because it's so when you're in front of that laptop. It goes the same
with written feedback too as well.
Yeah, exactly. Collect it, because when you sit in front of that laptop and you go, right, what have I done in the last 10 years? It's so hard to pinpoint that small project you did or that quick win that you had that will really stand out to employers. So just write it down, and, you know, have it on your phone or have it on a document somewhere, and just lean into that when you need it.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an element for a job seeker that to be prepared to be seen? Because if you think about the amount of careers content that we just spoke about that employers are pumping out there, those employer brand videos, there's whole social media strategies to attract a candidate now. Is there an element that is on us to like be prepared to engage, to, you know, actually do some research? If they're sharing content, to watch it, like be open for new things. Do you think there is a little bit of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a career move is a big thing, right? It's not a decision that should be taken lightly, in my opinion. So I think, you know, if I was a hiring manager and candidates had spent time, you know, like searching who we were as an organisation, what we had to offer, and how they best match that, even if they only fit 60% of the job description, you can see that potential. You can see how they can grow within the organisation. You know, you don't want to hire someone who can do 100% of the job. That's not what you're there to do. You're hired to grow into that role, but you need to, you know, put work in and stand out.
A quick fire questions to close out the episode, right? So I've just typed up my CV on ChatGPT. I think it's fabulous. I've done no editing. I've done no tweaks, nothing. It's just a ChatGPT CV. I'm so proud of it. I've sent it to one of your massive clients. What are they seeing on the back end? Can they tell?
Absolutely. As I said, I had conversations with recruiters, and they're like, I've just seen the same 4 candidates apply with the exact same CV. Like, they're not,
it's obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious. Stop doing it. I'm not saying don't use it in the recruitment process. We're all here for speeding things up and getting things done quickly, but use it to your advantage in terms of, you know, talk to it, manipulate, make you really sell yourself, instead of just being, right, I'm just going to hit out as many applications as I can. I would always say quality over quantity. Absolutely.
Agree. Shay, Jobs with Shay.
Yes.
What is the one common mistake that you think that people that are working with you or that you deal with are making whenever it comes to their job search?
One common mistake.
And what advice then on the back of that would you give?
Sorry, that one's I'm like, common mistake.
Is it something like selling themselves too short? Is it, you know, like that's the sort of thing I'm looking for?
Okay. No, something's coming to my mind, actually.
Okay.
I was like, is it? Yeah. It probably is, but then now it's changed. I think now, in this market, in fact, let me rewind. Previously, you were able to apply to multiple different roles, right? And it was kind of fine because employers basically didn't mind. Right now, the more specific you are, like I was saying before, the better it is. So I think the key mistake is candidates are not deciding what role that it is that they actually want. And I'm not saying you have to commit to that for life, but for this season of how tough the job market is, employers need to think, I've written this job description, they are coming in for this role, I can see them doing that role specifically and not multiple other roles in this org, if that makes sense.
That's great.
Yeah.
Shay, where can our listeners follow you?
Yeah, so mainly on X, JobsWithShay, and then also on LinkedIn as well. I'm Shay Loko, so feel free to connect with me and reach out.
And that's the end of today's episode. I just want to say a huge thanks to both Shay and Ruby for joining me today. As always, if you're in the market for a new role, why not check out Brook Street online? Your dream job might just be waiting for you. And as always, if you enjoyed today's episode, please have a listen wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. If it's Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, wherever. Thank you, and see you later.